Is your engine running rough, losing power, or burning more fuel than it should? You're not alone. 51% of drivers admit they've paid for repairs that could have been avoided with simple maintenance. The truth is, engines rarely fail from age alone. It's usually small, hidden issues that go unnoticed until they snowball into big problems. The best part? Most fixes cost less than $20 and take just minutes to do, and they can make your car feel brand new again. So stick around, because I'll show you 11 pro tips that save thousands in repairs, and tip 7 is the one mechanics never tell you about. And hey, if you love saving money on car repairs, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next garage-tested trick. Tip number 1. PCV valve. The $10 part that saves $1,000. A guy brought in his Civic complaining about rough idle and blue smoke puffing out of the exhaust. He thought the engine was dying. Truth? The PCV valve was completely clogged. That little $10 part was letting pressure build up in the crankcase, turning clean oil into thick sludge and forcing leaks through every weak gasket. Here's the thing, when that valve sticks, you're basically choking your engine with its own fume. It leads to oil contamination, poor mileage, even a nasty misfire if it goes long enough. I've seen engines wrecked because someone ignored this 5-minute fix. The solution's simple. Pull it out, give it a shake. If it doesn't rattle, it's toast. Swap it for a new one. No special tools, no shop visit. Just a quick replacement that restores airflow, prevents damage, and brings back smooth performance. Stick around, because the next tip solves a hidden power loss most drivers never spot. Timing belt. Chain. The silent time bomb. A few months back, a customer rolled in with a Camry that had just died on the highway. He thought it was the fuel pump. Nope. The timing belt had snapped, and because it was an interference engine, the pistons and valves collided like a car crash inside the block. Bent valves, destroyed camshaft teeth, full rebuild. We're talking thousands in repair costs, all because the belt was ignored. Here's what drivers don't realize. That belt or chain keeps your crankshaft and camshaft perfectly in sync. If it slips even one tooth, your engine runs rough. If it breaks, it's catastrophic failure. Manufacturers give a service schedule, usually around 60-100k mileage for belts, while chains last longer but still stretch or wear. The fix is simple. Don't wait for noise or misalignment. Replace it on schedule. Swap the tensioner and guides while you're in there, and your engine will stay smooth and reliable. Stick around. The next tip covers an invisible power thief most drivers never catch. Tip number 3. Vacuum leaks. The invisible power thief. Last week, a customer brought me a Honda that sounded like it was hiccuping at every stoplight. The engine would stumble, the idle was rough, and the scanner showed lean fuel trim. He thought it needed new sensors, but the real culprit was a tiny vacuum leak from a cracked hose hidden behind the intake. A $5 piece of rubber was making the car run like it was choking for air. Here's the trick I use in the shop. Grab a can of carb spray and lightly mist around the suspected area while the car is idling. If the RPMs jump or the sound changes, you've found the leak. Replace the hose or tighten the gasket, and suddenly the engine smooths out like it just had a tune-up. A simple test, a cheap fix, and you avoid wasting hundreds on misdiagnosed parts. Don't miss the next tip. It's about a hidden overheating issue that ruins more engines than people realize. Cooling system air bleed. The hidden overheating cause of. A guy came into the shop last summer panicked. His car kept overheating right after a coolant flush. He swore the radiator and hoses were brand new. The real issue, an air pocket trapped inside the cooling system. When air gets stuck, the coolant can't circulate and hot spots form around the cylinder head. That's how you end up with a blown gasket. Here's the pro trick. After a flush or refill, always bleed the system. Some cars have a built-in vent screw near the thermostat. Others you park on an incline. Run the engine with the cap off, and gently squeeze the upper hose until you see bubbles escape. Once the air is gone, the temperature stays stable and your engine avoids catastrophic damage. Up next is a $20 part that quietly controls everything in your cooling system, and most people don't even think about it until it fails. Tip number 5. Thermostat. The $20 part that controls everything. I had a customer complain that his truck never warmed up in winter. The gauge sat cold, fuel efficiency was awful, and the heater barely worked. The culprit, a thermostat stuck wide open, letting coolant circulate non-stop. On the flip side, I've also seen them jam closed, causing overheating and even cracked blocks. Amazing how a $20 part can control the entire cooling system. The thermostat's job is simple. It keeps the engine in its sweet spot by controlling coolant flow. If it fails, you waste fuel, lose performance, or risk major damage. Replacing it is cheap and straightforward. Drain a little coolant, remove the housing, pop in a new one, refill, and you're good. Ignore it, and you're gambling thousands on repair. Coming up next, I'll show you how weak battery voltage quietly ruins your engine's brain and throws off sensors. A problem most drivers blame on the wrong part. Quick pause. If you're finding this useful, smash that like button. It helps more drivers find these money-saving tips. Tip number 6. Battery and alternator health. The secret ECU killer. A guy once towed in his Accord convinced the engine needed a new fuel pump. It was stumbling, throwing random codes, and the check light kept flashing. I grabbed a multimeter, checked the battery, and it was sitting at 11.6 volts. The weak alternator wasn't charging right, and those bad signals were tricking the ECU into thinking half the sensors failed. The car didn't need $600 in parts. It needed a $120 battery. Here's the deal. Your electrical system runs the whole show. If the voltage drops, your ECU starts guessing, fuel trims go haywire, and the engine performance tanks. Pro tip: after sitting overnight, your battery should read at least 12.4 volts. Running with the engine on, you should see 13. The driving habits that quietly destroy engines faster than any broken part. Tip number 7. Driving habits that quietly kill engines. I had a customer who only drove his sedan on 5-minute trips to the store. After a year, the oil looked like chocolate milk, full of moisture and sludge from never getting fully hot. Another guy loved revving his car stone cold, thinking it woke it up. All it did was grind the bearings before the oil could even flow. And don't get me started on drivers lugging gears at low RPM. That constant stress is brutal on the engine. Here's the truth. Your engine needs proper heat and balanced combustion. Always let the oil warm before hammering the throttle. Avoid endless short trips if you can. And once in a while, take a good highway run to burn off buildup. Small changes in driving habits mean smoother performance and longer life. Next up, I'll show you a 15-minute DIY trick with a can of cleaner that feels like a full tune-up. Tip number 8. Throttle body cleaning. DIY tune-up in 15 minutes. A Mustang came into my shop with awful hesitation every time the driver tapped the gas pedal. He thought the engine was tired, maybe even a failing injector. I popped the intake, and the throttle body was caked with thick carbon deposits. The butterfly valve barely moved freely. 15 minutes with a can of cleaner spray and a light scrub, and suddenly the throttle response was sharp, the idle smooth, and the driver swore it felt like he gained 20 horsepower. Here's the deal. When that airflow is restricted, your engine performance nosedives. Cleaning it is simple. Disconnect the intake, spray the throttle plate, wipe the buildup, and let it dry. No special tools, just basic DIY maintenance. For less than $10, you can restore power, fix that rough idle, and make your car feel alive again. Don't go anywhere. The next tip is about a tiny sensor that causes expensive misdiagnoses when it's just dirty. Tip number 9. MAF sensor cleaning. Stop wasting money on misdiagnoses. A customer once spent nearly $600 replacing oxygen sensors, a fuel pump, even the throttle body, because his car kept stumbling and throwing lean cut. When he finally brought it to me, I pulled the MAF sensor and it was covered in a film of dirt. One blast of MAF cleaner spray, let it dry, reinstalled, and the engine ran like new. All that wasted money for something that takes 5 minutes. And the MAF sensor is fragile but critical. It measures airflow, so the ECU can balance the fuel mixture. If it's contaminated, you'll get rough idle, poor response, bad fuel trims, and even a nasty stumble under acceleration. The fit: never touch the wires, just spray with dedicated cleaner, let it air dry, and reinstall. It's one of the cheapest and fastest ways to restore performance. Coming up, I'll tell you why your choice of fuel and additives makes a bigger difference than you think. Tip number 10. Fuel quality and additives. Gas stations matter. I had a Corolla owner complain about sluggish performance and terrible mileage. He always filled up at the cheapest corner station. We ran a tank with top-tier fuel plus a dose of Ticron cleaner. And within a week, the engine smoothed out. The injectors stopped coughing, and his fuel economy jumped back up. Sometimes saving pennies at the pump ends up costing dollars in repair. Here's the truth. Low-quality gas often leaves behind deposits that clog your fuel system and hurt combustion efficiency. Stick with trusted brands. Use the right octane for your car. Don't waste money on premium if your manual says regular. And every few thousand miles, treat your tank with a proven additive like seafoam or tip. That little habit keeps carbon from building up and restores power before problems start. Next, I'll show you how modern engines suffer from hidden carbon buildup and the surprising ways mechanics clean it out. Tip number 11. Carbon cleaning for modern engines. Walnut blasting versus additives. A BMW owner came in swearing his car had lost its power and was guzzling fuel. The engine knocked under load, the idle was rough, and nothing showed on the scan. Pulled the intake, and the valves were caked with thick carbon deposits from the direct injection system. That buildup strangled airflow and killed efficiency. The fix? A professional walnut blasting session. Messy, but the performance came back instant. Here's the deal. Short trips, cheap fuel and modern injector design mean carbon buildup is a real maintenance issue. Light cases can often be handled with a strong additive spray run through the fuel system, but heavy deposits need proper blast. It's like a detox for your engine, clearing the gunk so it breathes freely again. Get this done every 30-50k miles, and you'll avoid costly repairs and enjoy smoother combustion and better mileage. Those 11 fixes are powerful, but many engines still fail because of simple driver mistakes. Here are the most common ones I see. Common mistakes drivers make. Every week I see the same bad habits ruin perfectly good engines. First one, revving hard on a cold start. The oil hasn't even reached the bearings yet, and drivers are already flooring it. Instant whip. Next, ignoring small leaks. That little drip on your driveway. Give it time and it'll blow a gasket or crack a block. Finally, I see people topping off coolant with plain water. Sounds harmless, but it causes corrosion, weakens the system, and invites overheat. These shortcuts look minor, but they add up to costly repairs fast. Fix the small stuff early, treat your fluids right, and your car will thank you with years of smoother performance. Along with mistakes, there are myths drivers still believe, and they quietly hurt your engine. Let's bust a few. Engine myths that refuse to die. I hear the same myths every day in the shop. First, people think premium fuel makes every car faster. Wrong. If your manual says regular, buying high octane is just burning money for no gain in performance. Second, drivers swear by thicker oil for better protection. Truth is, heavy oil flows poorly on a cold startup, starving parts of lubrication and causing hidden wear. And third, the old favorite, let your engine idle to warm up. All that does is waste gas and add carbon build. Gentle driving warms it up far better. These mistakes sound harmless, but they quietly cost drivers efficiency, fuel economy, and long-term maintenance dollars. Finally, let's cover a few must-have tools. Cheap, simple, and they'll save you from costly guesswork. Tools every driver should own. I can't count how many times drivers wasted money on parts when a $20 OBD2 scanner could have told the real story. A simple code reader plugs under your dash and shows what the check light is really saying. Pair that with a basic multimeter, and you can test your battery voltage or alternator in seconds. No guessing, no shop bill. Another must-have, a can of MAF cleaner spray. Half the bad sensor complaints I see are just dirty wire. With these 3 tools in your garage, you'll diagnose problems, keep your engine performance sharp, and save serious money. And that's how you stay 2 steps ahead of repairs instead of chasing them. Final thoughts, that's 11 hidden pro tips, plus the extra habits, myths, and tools that keep engines alive for decades. Miss part 1? Watch it next. It covers the basics every driver should know. And hey, don't wait until something breaks. Fix the small stuff today. Like this video, subscribe for real garage tested advice, and tell me in the comments, which of these tips surprised you most?